Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Bottom Line Talk Show on 95.5 The Vibe, FM in Tigerville, WNGR-LP. That's 95.5 The Vibe. You can listen to us anywhere in the world at Mixlr.com/WNGR. That's Mixlr.com/WNGR. Also on the Mixlr app. Cole Bryson alongside Brad McGuffin with you tonight for tonight's show. We were off last Wednesday. Why were we? Oh, I had a meeting, and we didn't have a show Wednesday, so it's been a week since we've been on the air, and we were almost. For a little bit, we said we might not have a show tonight because of the weather, and all the weather we got. I mean, man, the accumulation.
Oh yeah,
I've decided that I'm going to quit broadcasting and become a meteorologist.
Because it's pretty simple.
It's very simple. All you have to do is get up there, see what you think. I saw a Facebook post that was dead on. I shared it. Let me pull it up. But we were expected to have ice starting at, 6 a.m. this morning? All the way to 4. And all of Spartanburg County closed schools. Greenville County was already closed, but I'm sure they would have closed too. And we closed at noon for what? A little bit of rain that froze over.
Yeah. Well, it happens.
Here's the weather. Snow possible anywhere from 0 to 145 inches, maybe. Could start at 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 o'clock. Maybe today or maybe not. Possibly none. That's pretty dead accurate. But a lot to talk about tonight. A lot of big sporting events coming up this weekend. One that I'm really, really, really excited about. Can't wait. Daytona 500 coming up Sunday. We'll talk about that one with a guest here shortly. Also, opening weekend of college baseball for Division I. That's coming up. But real quick, let's start talking about some Division II baseball right here in Tigerville, North Greenville. Brad, they've already started their season. Right now, they sit at a 2-5 record with losses to Lander, and then they lost to Newberry, and then they lost 2 this past weekend at Mississippi College. The record doesn't look pretty, but like we were talking about before the show, these games, matter, but they really don't because they're not conference games.
Yeah. I mean, for North Greenville, it's really, this is how they started out last year. They started off kind of slow, but they played really good competition. Lander's always up there.
Lander's a good team.
Yeah. Newberry is a good team. North Greenville should have beat Newberry. But, teams like Mississippi College going to Hoover, Alabama to play, games like that this early in the season can only help you, not hurt you.
Right.
Even if you lose. So you get that experience against bigger, better competition. So, you think about it, they're only 7 games in. Once conference play kicks up, I think they're going to be pretty good. So they've got a lot of talent on this year's team. It's just they're still trying to find their identity. I watched them play Lander last week, and every inning they could get runners on base. They just couldn't get them home.
And you know what? The same problem against Newberry. The very first inning, in the top of the first, they got runners on. They just couldn't get them home. And one thing I look at when I look at their record so far in the games they've won, I don't know if you have the schedule put up or not, but the games they've lost, 2-0, 8-3, 6-3, 4-2, and then 4-0. And then look at the games they've won, Brad, 11-5 and 10-9. The games that they've won, they've had to score a lot of points to win those games. So obviously, when you look at that, you say they're obviously having to score a lot of runs to win ball games. So before conference play starts, you obviously want to see them get a little bit better defensively.
Yeah, and I think they will. It's just like I said, this early in the year, you're trying to find who can play and who can't. So pitchers out of the bullpen are going to be coming in. Everybody's going to be seeing an inning or 2 at a time. So, they've got a game the 17th. That's Wednesday against Benedict and Columbia. That's a game they should win. They beat Benedict, I think, all 3 times they played them last year. So,
and then after the Benedict game in Columbia Wednesday, they have a big home stretch coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight, I believe, at home. And those games include Salem International University, 1 game Friday, and then 2 on Saturday. That's a doubleheader. Mars Hill, Montreat, Emmanuel, and Brevard College all at home. How can they take advantage of those home games and get wins? Because, like we talked about, the region play doesn't start till the 26th, or conference play, rather, when they play Emmanuel College.
Yeah, they've just got to, offensively, like you said, it's the games are losing, they aren't scoring any runs. And if you don't score runs, you're not going to win the game, obviously. But, in those games where it was 6-3, 8-3, they had leads in those games and let them get away because they get runners on base and they can't get them in. That's baseball. So they're just going to have to, work the kinks out early because Emmanuel's, a conference weekend. So you got to win those.
When you look down at the rest of the schedule, we talked about the games that they play here at home. But after that, they play Southern Wesleyan, Newberry, Mount Olive, King, Anderson, Pfeiffer, Brevard. A lot of D2 schools that people are familiar with. What do you think needs to change before the conference play starts?
Well, I think they need to find, consistent bullpen play. It's in all the games they've lost. They've had a lead and they just let it get away because they don't have enough pitching or consistent pitching. I would say, but it's still early. They're going to figure all that out because we saw this last year. They struggled early. Then once conference play came, they found that identity and got on a big winning streak.
Well, they have a lot of games at home. We talked about that big home stretch. They have some mixed on the road as well. Big road trip or road 6 straight road games mid to late March as well. But then we also have a couple over at Floor Field. Talk about those games.
Yeah, we'll be doing those games, so that'll be fun. The first one they play against Mount Olive, and then that's going to be a fun night for us. But the 17th they play Anderson. Anderson's always had a pretty good team, so they play them at Floor Field as well. Anderson, I think, had North Greenville's number last year, but they had a lot of power hitters.
They did, and that's pretty much all we're going to talk about for North Greenville baseball tonight. We'll get back into that a little bit, hopefully Wednesday, or if not next week. Hopefully get Coach Powell on the show soon. We're going to talk some more college baseball later on. We're going to take one quick break, come right back, and then we'll be joined with a guest here on 95.5 The Vibe, WNGR-LP. This is The Bottom Line. Welcome back into The Bottom Line on WNGR-LP 95.5 The Vibe in Tigerville. Cole and Brad with you on The Bottom Line. Now being joined by a guest here to talk about the Daytona 500 coming up next week. We should have Dale Wilkerson on the phone. How are you, my friend? Do we have him? What about now? We can. Sorry about that. How are you doing?
Hey, pretty good, guys. A little bit slick that's out there on the road. Hope everybody's staying somewhere safe tonight.
Yeah, we hope so as well. A lot of slick roads up this way near Highway 11 as well. Hope all the roads near you are okay. Have you seen a lot of ice, black ice?
A little bit. Had one wreck about a half mile from the house. Walked up there by the Potato. Just folks, they forget you can come up on a patch where it's been freeze all day.
Right.
Been out, but still there's some heat generated. You've got trees shade in place. It's going to be slick. So
right.
Slow down. You don't have to get there in a hurry. Call ahead and tell them, hey, I'm running late. Run under the speed limit. Take your time to get there.
We're being joined by Dale Wilkerson, host of Dropping the Hammer, also the PA guy at Anderson Motor Speedway on Friday nights. Dale, we're less than a week away from the Daytona 500. Is this kind of like the day before Christmas or the week leading up to Christmas for a little kid for you?
Most of the time it is. This year, with that new deal with the charters,
right,
Wood Brothers being overlooked, it's kind of took a little bit of the excitement out for me. When you tell 36 teams, you don't have to qualify. You're locked in no matter what happens. You're locked in the race. It kind of takes the excitement out of qualifying. Still, it was pretty neat to see Chase Elliott in his first attempt to get the pole for the Daytona 500.
Mm-hmm.
Something his dad did 4 times. But still, looking through the rest of the year, the Woods Brothers car in particular, with Ryan Blaney driving that. Now, it's last year they had sponsorship secured so they could go full-time again. They had been running a part-time schedule due to, financing.
Right.
Because the multi-car teams was pulling all the good sponsors. Well, with help from Penske, they were able to get some good sponsorship for that 21. They got Ryan Blaney in there, and a team that's been around NASCAR for 66 years, they should have a charter. And them being shunned is one of the worst things that's happened in NASCAR in years.
Dale, a few rule changes that they announced a couple of weeks back. Are these anything that NASCAR fans need to be aware of, or are they just some minor changes?
Well, if you go to a race expecting to see 43 cars, it's not going to be but 40 with this new deal. Those 36 are locked in. 4 other cars get in on speed. You could have 12 cars show up. That's not locked in the top 36, only 4 going to get in. And I say top 36, that's the locked in 36. That's
Right.
Top 36 is the locked in 36. You cannot earn your way into that this season. So if any of these guys, Matt DiBenedetto, if he was to qualify for the chase, he has to qualify for each race on his own. He doesn't have a spot there waiting on him.
Gotcha. Well, Dale, give us obviously the Daytona 500 Sunday at 1 o'clock. Give us who you think is the obvious favorite, and then also give us who a dark horse could be coming up for the Sunday.
It's going to be tough to go against the Joe Gibbs Toyotas. And I know Gray Sutherland is happy to hear me say that after seeing Denny Hamlin get the victory Saturday night in the shootout. And that was a wreck fest. And that's one thing about restrictor plate racing, especially since they've done away with the tandem drafting with the smaller radiator openings. The bumper's not lining up. You've got to be able to work that drag. And Denny has got a knack for that. He's real good on flat tracks, and he's real good at restrictor plate tracks.
Right.
He may be the man to watch. My dark horse, I kind of talked about it already at 21. He's fast. Ryan Blaney.
He is. Dale, we talked about the 21 Ryan Blaney could be a dark horse. Is the reason you say that because he's on because he's part of the Wood Brothers, or is there some other reasoning behind that?
That kid's fearless. He's smooth. He ran fourth at Talladega, sister track to Daytona. They've got Penske help with the cars, with the chassis. The Wood Brothers, the most experienced team in the garage area. They want to make a big splash on that full time. They're racing with a chip on their shoulder since they don't have one of those charters. They know they have to qualify each and every week. And look for that car to be gangbusters this year. That 21's going to be tough. And I would love to see them put that thing back in victory lane.
I would
40
too.
years, on the year with a 6, 40 years ago, David Pearson won 1976.
That's it.
One of the most exciting Daytona 500s ever. Yes, the Woods Brothers have won since then at Daytona, but it would be neat to hang one year up. We won in 76 and we won in 16. That's pretty cool.
Right. For 13 straight years, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been the most popular driver in all of NASCAR. Sunday, does he have a pretty good chance of winning, and what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, the Hendrick cars are my next strong horses. The Joe Gibbs cars are my first pick, then the Hendrick cars. Of course, they're on the front row. I think Gibbs guys have something figured out once they get rolling. Of course, the Hendrick cars qualified very strong. You cannot bet against any of those guys. Like that's down for 500, maybe Casey Kane. He's just had some of the worst luck the past season. Would like to see Casey shake that monkey off his back, but Chase Elliott can make a big impact here in his first Daytona 500. No, he didn't look that good in his Cup races last year. You're allowed 7, and you can keep your rookie status. But that young man's very talented. He's in a great car. He's replacing Jeff Gordon. This car was on the pole last year.
Good point.
It's right back where it was at. So, a lot of folks who have straight comparison was how does this rookie look compared to the veteran that came out of it? Well, pole at Daytona. Next up, what's going to happen? So, the Hendrick cars will be tough. Dale Jr. at Daytona and Talladega, you don't want to bet against him. He is just real good. He's inherited that from his dad for sure. Because Dale Sr. he learned everything he could from Buddy Baker and Bobby Allison, David Pearson, Richard Petty, about how to run the big tracks. And then when they put the restrictor plates on them, it's just miraculous things he could do. And Dale Jr. has some of that ability from his dad. And if that 88's close to the front end, better keep your eye on him.
Brad here. What's up with the violations that NASCAR found, in the three cars? Can you talk about that a little bit?
The first one was Martin Truex. On the roof flap, they said it wasn't locking back in place correctly. So what it's doing, it's more or less just, hold your hand out front and imagine that's the roof flap. Flip it up about a 1/4 inch. You're making airflow off the back of that car, which is going to make that car go faster. So that's the big thing with Martin Truex. They expect they find him points with that. Then with the 2 cars from Stewart-Haas, with both of them coming up with the same problem, that's going to be ugly too. And tough start here with Brian Vickers. He wrecks in the shootout. Kevin Harvick got caught up in that wreck. Then he failed inspection. It's a tough start to Speed Weeks for him and Kevin Harvick.
Well, Dale, we appreciate you coming on the night show. Your show is about to start up here soon because the Daytona 500 starts. Has it already started, or is it this Saturday?
We'll take green flag bright and early Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. We've been a long time since we've come on that early in the morning. But,
Right.
Back on another year. I'm looking forward to opening the race season down in Anderson, as well as Orange County Speedway. Friday nights we'll be at Anderson. Saturday nights I'll be at Lawrence slinging a little dirt. So it'll be a lot of fun, and I can't wait for the local racing to get started.
Right. How can folks listen to your show on Saturday mornings?
That's on 1400 AM out of Spartanburg, Fox Sports Spartanburg.
Thank you so much for coming on the night show.
Y'all take care and roll tide.
Have a good one.
See you.
That was Dale Wilkerson, host of Dropping the Hammer, if you will. We're going to take one quick break, come back. About the 6:25 mark, Brad, we'll get into some more football. We'll give you the mock draft and what the biggest impacts, or the biggest players who can impact the draft. We'll talk about those on the other side. You're listening to The Bottom Line on 95.5 The Vibe, WNGR LP.
Other than Brandon McElway right now, they had so many issues in quarterback last year. That's just the bottom line. You know how healthy Connor Mitch is? It's hard to think anyone will mean more to this team going forward in this particular recruiting class than Brandon McElway and an Elite 11 quarterback.
Did you see where he liked the post on Facebook? Grayson did.
Mixler.com/WNGR, also on the Mixler app.
Is that what?
I didn't send mine last week. I've got all mine last week.
You're listening to The Bottom Line on 95.5.
What days do y'all have that class?
Also on the Mixler app, or on
Wednesday.
Mixler.com/WNGR.
It was Radio Practice 1, right?
This is
Gotcha.
The Bottom Line with Cole Bryson and Brad McGutt.
Oh, you guys are doing shadow hours right now?
Yeah, I'm in video practice. I have a video about student life, so I just figured out.
Thank you for tuning in to The Bottom Line.
We didn't
We'd
have
love for you to
Well,
call
last
us and
month
give
was
your
ours.
thoughts
Yeah,
on
we didn't have one
past events
Wednesday.
or upcoming sporting events at 864-895-4647.
You shout out
Also
too?
tweet us at
Are you shout out too?
TBL
Or?
Talk
No,
Show.
I've got all my
TBL
hours.
Talk Show.
I've
Thanks
got
for
my
listening to The Bottom Line
shadow
on
hours, I got my
WGRLP
intern hours.
95.5 FM.
I don't need anything else. I have my own show. I can get my hours that way.
I got CBS Sports one pulled up. We'll do that one.
Mock draft.
Yeah, that's the most. I had it pulled up, but it was playing. Huh? Well, I had it pulled up, but there was audio playing from it, so I'll put it back up after I get done with this. We'll do that. I meant to say we're gonna do that instead of since he went over here. We're gonna cut what I had at 6:17. Not talk about that, and then we'll just start at 6:24 or right now actually. Welcome back into The Bottom Line on WNGR LP 95.5 The Vibe. Thanks for tuning in tonight's show, whether you're listening on 95.5 The Vibe or on Mixler.com/WNGR, also on the Mixler app. Let's talk about the mock draft for a little bit, Brad. We hadn't talked about it yet. The last we talked, NFL was last Monday after the Super Bowl, but you know what? We'll talk about the mock draft in just a second. If you're Tennessee and you get the first overall pick, who do you take in the draft? Not who do you think they'll take? Who do you take if you're Tennessee with the first pick?
Yeah, they need protection on the line. So I still would go with Tunsil. Yeah, Bose was good, but you need protection first because you've got a good quarterback in Mariota. I mean, he showed signs of how good he really can be. So I would go with Tunsil just for protection because Tunsil can do a lot too. I mean, he's athletic
Right.
for a big man.
We're looking at the CBS Sports mock draft. They have him taking Laramie Tunsil, the offensive tackle from Ole Miss. They gave up the league, or they led the league last year in most sacks, and a lot of people have them taken. They said they need to take a defensive end or a linebacker, but that's not going to help your problem there. Like you said, they need protection. So I think that'll be a pretty good pickup. It's just weird to see an offensive tackle go in first overall. Carson Wentz from North Dakota State They have him going second. This is the CBS Sports mock draft. They have him going to second to guess where?
At Cleveland. But, he's a good quarterback, but he's not number 2.
How many quarterbacks have they drafted in a row now? Is it?
It's been a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
Johnny did not work out, unfortunately. But,
That's an understatement.
Cleveland has bigger problems than a quarterback. Carson Wentz can be a good quarterback in the NFL, but you don't waste the number 2 pick on him, in my opinion.
Carson Wentz, obviously, playing quarterback, but you've got to remember there's a couple other quarterbacks out there that are bigger names than Carson Wentz, and they don't even have them going in the top 10. I mean, Jared Goff from California, they have him going 15th, and then who was the other one I was thinking of?
Paxton Lynch.
Yeah,
at
Paxton.
22.
They have him 22 to Houston. So,
Or Connor Cook at 22 also.
well, if you're Cleveland, what do you take instead of a quarterback here? If you're the GM for the Browns,
You're sitting there at 2. You could go Bosa. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I mean, we've seen the past couple years defense wins championships. So if you want to move in that direction, go defense. Go with Bosa. Go with Jalen Ramsey from Florida State. I mean, there's so many good defensive prospects in this year's draft. I don't know why you pass up on those to get a guy in Carson Wentz.
I think Cleveland's problem is not, like you said, the quarterback. I think it's more management. I mean, what they're trying to do is they're trying to build a football team from quarterback and then quarterback down, which really doesn't work. I mean, unless you're talking about Tom Brady. I mean, if you draft Carson Wentz, are you saying that's your day one starter?
Yeah.
Is Carson Wentz?
If you draft him, then you're saying he's the future of your franchise. And you tried that with Brandon Whedon. That didn't work. You tried it with Johnny Manziel. That didn't work. So, I would go in a different direction because it just hadn't worked.
But they've got to get a quarterback though.
Yeah,
They've got to.
They do need a quarterback, but do you waste a number 2 pick on it?
I don't know how much cap space they have. I know they're not in the top 5 because I saw that article today, or the top 10, the teams that had the top 10 cap space for free agency, and Cleveland wasn't in the top 10. But there's a couple good free agent quarterbacks out there. I mean, Colt McCoy's available.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be a whole lot better than.
He's
draft-
won more games than
Yeah.
RG3 in the last couple of years.
And
So-
RG3 will be available too.
Yeah, he will be. So, maybe a different scene for RG3 would work, but we all know Washington didn't work out too much.
For San Diego, the Chargers, if you're like it did for the first 2, if you're them, who would you pick? Obviously, they have him taking Jalen Ramsey. Is that a pretty good choice in your mind?
I don't see why not. Ramsey he was locked down his whole career at Florida State. I think he'll go top 5. He should go top 5. I wouldn't have a problem with Ramsey. If I was San Diego and he's available, I'd take him.
Yeah, the next 3 are all defensive players, so I don't see a problem with that one at all. If full safety is their biggest need over linebacker and offensive tackle and defensive end, then I don't see why not. The 4th pick goes to the Cowboys. CBS Sports mock draft, and most mock drafts having the Cowboys take Miles Jack, the linebacker from UCLA. What do you think about that?
Yeah, he was good at UCLA. Over here on the East Coast, a lot of people don't really get to see UCLA play a whole lot, but he was really athletic. They put him at running back. They do a lot with him. So, he's one of those multi guys that you can put just about anywhere and he'll make a play.
Rod Marinelli's defense is at its best when the linebacking core is really, really good. And for the past couple of years, the Cowboys' linebacking core has been pretty bad. They've had Sean Lee, but Sean Lee gets hurt every time he gets hit. Concussion, broken nose, broken pinky toe, whatever it is. He's always hurt. So I think a linebacker would be good. I want Joey Bosa just because I'm a Cowboys fan, but you know what, Miles Jack, I think he's NFL ready as well. So I would be happy with that one. And I'll definitely go defense. I wouldn't go offense here if you're Dallas. Next one is Joey Bosa. He goes to the Jaguars. That's what the CBS Sports mock draft has him, the defensive end. What about that one?
Yeah, I think Jacksonville needs to go defense this year because the last couple of years they've gone offense, and they've got a lot of young talent on offense. They've got a good quarterback. They've got some good, really young.
Well, didn't they draft defense last year?
Yeah, they did over their first-round pick.
And he got hurt?
He got hurt, so he'll be back next year. But
And he plays in?
defensive end. Yeah,
So that'll be
defensive tackle,
huge.
defensive end, yeah. Dexter Fowler from Florida. He's going to be a big key next year. But they've got Allen Robinson. He's a great receiver. So if you were to get a guy like Bosa opposite of Dexter Fowler, I mean that division. I mean, I'm a Colts fan. I know that division's weak. You can make some noise in that division.
After the Jaguars, we'll do top 10. 6 goes to the Ravens. They have the Ravens taking an offensive tackle. I guess from Notre Dame. Notre Dame's produced really, really good offensive linemen here in the past couple of years, especially with Zach Bailey.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, because he played
offensive lineman rookie of the year. And then number 7, San Francisco gets that one. They pick Treadwell. Do you think Treadwell falls to 7? I originally thought he'd go top 5.
Yeah, I think Baltimore could use a guy like Treadwell, but San Francisco needs help.
I completely agree.
Yeah, San Francisco needs help on offense too. Chip Kelly, we all know, is an offensive guy. I would not be a bit surprised if he's there at 7. That's who they're taking, because Treadwell is going to be something special. I think.
I agree. Vernon Hargraves, the 3rd cornerback out of Florida. They have him going to the Dolphins. Like that one.
Oh, I love that pick. Vernon Hargraves is fun to watch.
Defensive end is the next pick, DeForest Buckner from Oregon. They have him going to the Bucks. Yes or no?
I haven't really paid that close attention to him, but Oregon's defense wasn't that great last year. I know he was one of their bigger players on that defense. So CBS is normally accurate. So
right. Number 10, the last one we'll talk about, Ezekiel Elliott, the running back from Ohio State. They have him going to the Giants. I'm a huge fan of Elliott. I kind of wish he'd go, a little bit higher, maybe 4th. But this will be a huge pickup for the Giants, in my opinion, even though they already have a couple of good running backs.
Yeah, the other guy, there's 2. They have 2 picks for each one. The other one has Shaq Lawson from Clemson going right there to the Giants as well. So, that'd be really cool for Shaq if he could go top 10 because he had a great year.
Yeah. Talking about Shaq, they have Dan Brugler has him going 10th to the Giants. Rob Rang has him going all the way to 16th to the Lions, which that would help the Lions a lot. Some other names that you're familiar with, Mackenzie Alexander from Clemson. Rob Rang has him going 14th to the Raiders. And then Dan Brugler, God, I don't even see him on here. 21st to the Redskins. Yeah. But Rob has Reggie Ragland going to the Redskins 21st, which would be huge because he's a beast from Alabama.
They have Dodd. Brugler has Dodd.
Kevin Dodd.
The Panthers at 30.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good fit for him. I don't think he'll go with top 20, but I think Kevin Dodd will be a pretty good player. I think he's NFL ready as well. Just real quick, going over the free agents, the biggest free agents for this year in the NFL. Obviously, number 1. You're not looking at the list, are you?
No, I'm not.
Who do you think it is?
Number 1?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Come on, just played in the Super Bowl.
Oh.
Just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Is it Von Miller?
Yeah.
Von Miller. Yeah. We talked about this Monday after the game. If you're the Broncos, you do anything you can to keep him.
Do you think he'll stay?
I don't know why. I don't think he would want to leave. I mean, money is always going to be.
And he's young. He's really young.
He's real young. Money's always going to talk. But I mean, I think Denver can. I think he'll stay in Denver. I don't know.
I don't think the Broncos will let him even hit the market.
Yeah, I don't. I think they're going to do everything they can to keep him. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Number 2.
Come
on.
I need to look
played
at
in the
list.
Super Bowl. No, you don't. It's the game. Number 2. Played in the Super Bowl, lost the Super Bowl. The biggest free agent. Defense. Lost the Super Bowl.
Oh, Josh Norman.
Norman. Yeah, you're not thinking. You know these.
Yeah.
He probably won't go anywhere either. He was a legitimate Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and he's really young, so I think
he's going to get big money though.
Yeah, wherever. Do you think the Panthers will keep him? I think they will.
I think they're going to do everything they can, but I think teams are going to throw a lot at Josh Norman, and they're going to give him something to think about.
Yeah, I believe so.
I mean, I've told you that I would be almost shocked if the Cowboys don't throw a big number at him because Dallas has money, and I'm gonna be interested to see that
that's gonna be fun
because I really do think Dallas is going to throw a lot at him.
We'll skip 3, 4. Wide receiver plays for the Bears.
Oh, Alshon Jeffrey.
That's going to be a big one, I think.
Yeah, I'd be kind of surprised if he goes back to Chicago.
You know what? I agree. I expect him to go somewhere else.
Yeah, and he's going to be another big free agent this year.
Because what is he coming off as rookie? last rookie contract? Is that
Yeah. I mean, he's been in the league for 3 years, and
so? It's been okay.
yeah, when he wasn't injured, he's been great. But there's been certain, each year he's had a couple games where he's been out due to injury. So I think he's still going to get money, maybe not as much as he deserves because of the injury bug, but a lot of teams are going to be knocking at his door as well.
Yeah, I'll skip over a couple. Eric Berry from Kansas City. You think he goes anywhere?
I think he stays in Kansas City.
Yeah, he'll be a free agent. Number 10 here on this list. This is NFL.com's biggest free agents in the offseason. Number 10 is Doug Martin. That's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, he's a good back. I mean, I think he could stay in Tampa Bay.
Well, he was the number 2 rusher in the NFL, so I think he's going to get paid.
Right, yeah, he's definitely going to get money. But, if I were him, I'd stay in Tampa. You got Jameis at quarterback, so I wouldn't want to leave that.
I wouldn't either. Skip down a little farther to 14, Sam Bradford, the Eagles quarterback. What do you think for him? You think he stays?
Who knows?
This report says the Eagles don't want to re-sign him.
I don't know why anyone would want to sign him. I mean, because every year he gets hurt. So if
He didn't this year, did he?
yeah, he just got his spot taken early in the year. I wouldn't sign him to a huge contract. I would, if I'm Philadelphia, let him go. Let that be someone else's mess.
Another quarterback, 15, Kirk Cousins, Washington. Yes, you think he stays?
I would want to keep him. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, he's showed signs of how good he can be.
Yeah, at worst, he's like a poor man's Andy Dalton. So
Right.
I think you got to keep him as good as he did this year. And then number 20, played in the Super Bowl. Well, actually sat the bench in the Super Bowl. See if you can guess this one.
Brock Osweiler.
Yeah.
If you're Denver, you better keep him.
Yeah.
'Cause I think he's going to be special.
They're gonna have to pay him though. I mean, he's gonna have to.
I mean, Elway after the game said we would not be here if it wasn't for Osweiler. So
Right.
I think they know that they're going to have to pay him. So they're going to have to do a lot of number crunching to see how they're going to keep all these names on that team.
Well, that was the CBS Sports mock draft. We looked at free agents. We'll take a break, come back, talk college basketball and college baseball for the last part of the show. We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes. You're listening to The Bottom Line on WNGR LP 95.5 The Vibe. That is the person who listens. Welcome back into The Bottom Line on 95.5 The Vibe FM in Tigerville. You're listening to Mixler.com/WNGR, also on the Mixler app. We've talked NFL. We've talked about the Daytona 500 coming up Sunday. Time to talk a little bit college basketball, Brad. You had a chance to. We'll talk South Carolina first, since you had a chance to go to the game Saturday against Kentucky. A lot of people. Well, let me say this first. A lot of people picked South Carolina to win Saturday.
Yeah, and I was at the game, and I'll say this: it didn't take very long. I was texting a buddy who was sitting on the floor, and me and him both agreed. It was about 5 to 6 minutes into the game. I thought this one was going to get ugly because if you were really watching the game, you could tell Kentucky. They were a whole step and a half quicker than Carolina. They were leaps and bounds smarter than South Carolina as far as, knowing where their teammate's going to be, knowing how to get on the ball. I mean, they were just running circles around South Carolina.
But how much better do you think they actually are?
I think.
I mean, if they played tonight, who do you think would win?
Oh, I still think Kentucky would
By
win.
that
big.
much?
Yeah.
By 27?
But, yeah.
That's
big.
crazy. No,
'Cause
that's crazy. See, I disagree.
I think, here's the thing.
You don't go beat LSU and beat Ben Simmons and then you come home and then just flop.
I mean, South Carolina they are a good basketball team. They could have won that game. But when you shoot, I don't even know the percentage off the top of my head, but when you shoot that poorly, you're not going to beat anybody. And when that game started, they couldn't hit a layup. They couldn't hit a jump. I mean, the first 6 free throws, they missed all 6 of them. And if you're going to beat a team like Kentucky, yes, Kentucky may be down this year, but you can't miss that many shots, especially your free throws early in the game, and expect to win. Because once they got rolling, oh gosh, you knew it was going to get ugly. Because I mean, Kentucky just once Calipari got ejected,
but I think that's
the
what
team just picked that up and ran with it.
I think that's what motivated Kentucky. I mean, a lot of people said that was intentional. I don't know if that was intentional that he got ejected or not. I don't know if he did it on purpose. A lot of people said he did. But after that, I agree. You could see it starting to roll away. But do you know why? I mean, what did he say? Do you know what he said?
I have no idea what he said. All I know is he was not happy with a call on the other end of the court. Came back. It was immediate timeout. He gave the official what he thought.
He got a tech, and then as soon as he got a tech, he got thrown out.
Yeah, he gave the official what he thought about the play who wasn't calling a foul. And so then once he got the first tech, he was mad he got a tech, and then that's what got him ejected. But the whole place went crazy when he got ejected because that's the second time he's been ejected there the past few times.
The last time they played, he got ejected.
Yeah, so I mean it was funny because everyone knew how big of a temper he had, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, he just got ejected and the game just started. So
Right. I don't know that if Carolina and LSU play. If Carolina and Kentucky played again, I think Carolina would have a much better chance because I think Carolina's a whole lot better of a team than they showed Saturday. Like I said, I think LSU. Why do I keep saying LSU? I think Kentucky got really fired up after Calipari got ejected. I don't know why, but they did. And then you saw what happened after that. But they have 6 games left: Missouri, Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Georgia, Arkansas. And I look at that and I see 2 games that I can give them an excuse for losing. They should beat Florida and they should beat Tennessee. Georgia's going to be tough. They lost to Georgia already in Athens. But Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee, those are the only 3 tough ones. Arkansas, Missouri, and Mississippi State, they should handle those.
yeah, Arkansas is one of those tricky places to play, and I know that's a road game for them. So that could be kind of a tricky place to play. But yeah, they should not lose to Georgia or Tennessee at home. Florida's been one of those teams that's one week they play great and then they just fall off. A lot like Tennessee.
A lot like Tennessee.
So, Florida at home should be a win, but, Florida's got some talent too. So they can maybe sneak up on South Carolina.
Of those next 6, how many do you think they lose?
I
say 2.
Yeah, I would say 2. South Carolina has never played good at Arkansas. And, Mississippi State, that's a road game too, I think. Isn't that a road game?
Yes.
So that's another. They should win that game, but it's just, it's just one of those tricky places to play.
Clemson, who they beat Saturday?
They beat
Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
RPI still really high though.
Yeah, it's. I think you said 88.
Yeah, 88.
Did you check that today?
Uh-huh.
So that needs to go up, and I think they certainly got their opportunities.
It needs to go way up.
Yeah, and
that's still too low.
I know they play Virginia in a couple weeks.
They play Boston College. What's today's date? They play Boston College Wednesday. Then they play NC State, then Georgia Tech. Those are like 3 games. They should win those 3. Then they go. They host Virginia on the 1st of March, and they go to Boston College. So only 5 games left for Clemson.
Yeah, and they need to win 4 of them. I think.
Yeah, you got to.
I think even 5.
For you talking about to make the tournament.
Yeah, because
I say you got to win 4 of them, and then you got to make a huge run in the ACC tournament.
And Virginia's got to be one of those wins. So,
but how much is? You're right, but you know what? That's at home, so I don't know that it helps your RPI at all. But what it does, if you lose that game, it hurts your RPI.
Yeah.
If you win it, it doesn't really help you. But if you lose, it does hurt you a lot. That's going to be a big game. Because, like I said, because it's at home, I don't even think it helps your RPI at all if you win.
Well, yeah, Virginia's RPI is so high that
what is theirs?
I know it's in like the top 10. So,
oh my God!
So I think, of course, Clemson win it. If they win that game, it'll help them. But you cannot lose at Georgia Tech. You cannot lose at Boston College. You cannot lose at NC State. Otherwise,
it's 5. Oh
yeah.
my God!
Otherwise, the RPI is just going to.
How is theirs 5?
Because they've played great. They played really good non-conference teams, and then they
beat them.
Won. Yeah, and they beat them, and they won conference games.
But I don't understand how they have Syracuse in and Clemson out. Syracuse has the exact same record, exact same home wins, exact same conference record as Clemson, and Clemson even has the head-to-head against Syracuse, but they have Clemson's being out and Syracuse is in.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things that's tough to understand because, Syracuse played some really good out-of-conference teams. They beat UConn.
But they played terrible and to start the conference off.
Yeah, and then they lost, their first 4 conference games?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, it's tough to really fully understand
I just don't see how Clemson's RPI is so high. It's 88. Syracuse's is 40.
Yeah, Clemson's RPI is that high because, they lost to a bad Minnesota team early in the year. They've lost.
I think that Georgia loss hurt them too.
Yeah, they lost to Georgia early in the year. They lost to UMass early in the year. Losses like that will never come back to help you.
Lost to Alabama.
Yeah, lost to Alabama at home. A lot of those losses that's why that RPI.
They didn't beat one SEC team.
Yeah, they lost all 3 of them.
That's terrible.
That's not good.
That's awful. Do you still think Carolina's in? For sure.
Yeah. Carolina's in. It's just a matter of seeding for them. if they can, finish strong down the stretch, they could maybe get a 7 or 8 seed. But right now, I'm probably thinking 9, 10 seed ish.
Right. All right, we talked about it 2 or 3 weeks ago. You said Kansas. They played Saturday. Right now, who's the best team in college basketball?
Well,
Sorry, you said
no,
Oklahoma.
I said Oklahoma. But I'm going to give you more of a sleeper right now. I think.
Don't say Villanova, please.
Oh, no, I'm not. I think. I don't know if they are the best team in the country, but they're playing the best right now, and that's Xavier. If I've got to watch a little bit of them play this year, they're good. They're big. They're physical. They're fun to watch. I don't know if there is right now the head and shoulders team above everybody else.
North Carolina looked really, really good yesterday.
North Carolina looked good. I mean, Kansas looked good Saturday, but
I think Kansas. You know what? What is Villanova ranked 1?
yeah, they are number 1. They are number 1, and Villanova, they're kind of that team that around here no one really pays attention to. But they've beaten 14 teams with an RPI of 50
Who was
or
it
better.
back during college football season that was ranked like 4th that nobody knew it? Was it
Iowa.
Iowa.
And
They're the Iowa of college basketball because nobody obviously hears about them because they're not from the East Coast. They haven't played anybody, in my opinion. I mean, they've played a couple
Well,
of tough teams.
They've played good competition. I want to pull up their schedule. Let me pull up their schedule real quick. They have played some really good competition because they play in the Big East. Let me pull up their schedule. It's going to be give me a minute to find it. But Villanova, Jay Wright is their head coach. He's one of the best coaches in all of basketball. And we see Villanova do this every year.
I mean, they got blown out. I don't see how you can say they have a tough schedule at all. Where are you looking at that?
Do you have it pulled up?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you that link.
They got mauled by Virginia. Mauled. Have you seen the score when they played Oklahoma?
No.
26. Where do you see Georgetown? They play them, but they haven't played them yet. No, I lied. They played Georgetown 1 by 5. I mean, what good teams do you see on the schedule?
Well, they had beaten the link I saw last week. They had beaten 14 teams with an RPI of 50 or better.
But their
RPI
non-conference schedule, the best teams they played non-conference were Georgia Tech and Oklahoma. They won. Let's see. They went 11-0 to start the year. But like I said, out of those first 11 teams, Georgia Tech was the best in my opinion. I mean, and that's pretty bad. Oklahoma. They lost. They got killed by Oklahoma, 78-55. But other than that, who do you see? How can you say they have a tough schedule?
Well, their strength of schedule ranks 17, and their RPI is number 3. So
Their RPI is 3 because they won non-conference games against, teams that had good RPIs then but don't now.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Big East, what they're in. Xavier.
They're barely beating teams like Seton Hall.
Yeah, but Seton Hall, they're one of those teams in the Big East that, they've got some good players, just no one gives them any respect around here. They beat, Creighton. Creighton has always had a good basketball team. They beat Marquette.
They beat Xavier, but Xavier's down a lot.
Yeah, Xavier, they beat them the other night. So,
I just don't see any. I just don't. When I look at the schedule, I don't see any team that says, "Wow, Villanova beat them. That's impressive."
Yeah,
I don't see one.
I think that they're going to be. I believe they're going to be a number 1 seed come NCAA tournament time. And
yeah,
then,
because they're the one right now.
And then there's going to be people that say, "Why are they number 1 like you are?" And then they're going to win some games because this team. I think this is one of the best teams he's had at Villanova. But every year they get to the tournament and lose. So
You didn't. I was going about to ask you if you watched the Miami-Florida State game last night, but you didn't.
yeah.
Iowa, do you agree with them being ranked above North Carolina?
Yeah, Iowa's a good basketball team. They play in the Big Ten. They've shown signs of this the past couple of years, and then this year they're a whole leaps and bounds better than anybody in the Big Ten. I think they've got athleticism like no one else. They're a fun team to watch. They can shoot the 3. So I don't have a problem with them being where they are.
The AP poll has Iowa above North Carolina, but the coaches poll has North Carolina above Iowa, and then even Maryland above Iowa.
Yeah,
and Maryland's good.
Yeah, Maryland is good. I know Iowa beat Indiana the other night. That was a big home win. So I don't know when they play Michigan State again, but that's going to be another fun game to watch.
Right. All right, we talked about college basketball a little bit. Let's get into some baseball before the show ends. It's finally here. Opening weekend is here. Obviously, we're big college baseball fans, so we're excited. Let's start with Carolina again. They play host to Albany starting the 19th. That's a 4 o'clock game. They play Albany 3 straight times. And then some non-conference games like Appalachian State, Winthrop, Penn State, the Citadel. We've talked to Willie Smith about the Gamecocks team. We talked to Rickson Lane. What do you think for this opening stretch? When I look at this opening stretch, it doesn't look really difficult. I mean, there's some good teams, so they ought to make a big run here early.
Yeah, every year they do this. Clemson's really their biggest test of the year when they play them. So,
last year going into the Clemson game, they had only lost like 1 or 2, didn't they?
Yeah, they lost to College Charleston early.
I think that might have been the only one.
Yeah, they did. I think this year, I think they'll be undefeated when they play Clemson.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I mean, yeah, they had the Citadel March 1st.
You say they sweep Albany and they sweep Penn State?
Yeah, they last year when they played Penn State.
You think they're that much better this year than they were last year?
Last year when they played Penn State, they killed them all 3 games, and then Albany, they're not a very good baseball team. So, talent-wise, I think that's going to win these early games. I don't know a whole lot about Appalachian State, but
Winthrop's always a decent team.
Yeah.
Like you said, I don't know a lot about App State.
App State, I do know they're playing some really good competition. Their opening weekend, they're in that tournament down in Coastal. They're playing NC State's in that tournament. Virginia, the defending national.
Oh yeah. That's this weekend, right?
Yeah,
that's
down at Coastal. They play. I think they'll play Virginia, who obviously won the national championship last year. Coastal's in that
Coastal's
tournament.
good.
So that's going to be. Appalachian's going to see some really good competition the opening weekend.
Does Carolina not play Coastal this year?
No, they do play him. I think they play him in April, I believe. I know they play him
They
at
do,
home.
the 5th.
Yeah, Coastal beat them last year in Coastal. So,
and so did Wofford.
Yeah, Wofford beat them too. So
I was there.
The difference between South Carolina being where they were 3 years ago and where they've been the past 2 years is they lose these midweek games. And the first year they won that national championship, they did not lose a single midweek game. And you don't have to do that every year, but if you want to be elite, you cannot lose.
Well, I think that's just because of pitching. I think they downgraded so much from the bullpen.
Oh, yeah, the pitching's been terrible, and don't even get me started on the offense.
We'll talk about it a lot more, come the 1st of March. Clemson, the first game against Clemson's the 4th. That's a Friday. Then they're in Columbia. Then they come up here for the Saturday game. Then go to Clemson for the Sunday game. Early prediction for that one: who wins the series?
I think Clemson's going to have more of the momentum. I think
Clemson wins the series.
I think Clemson maybe have a little bit more talent, but I think Clemson, as far as momentum standpoint, I think they're going to be there. Monty Lee's going to have them fired up. I don't know if I'm going to say who'll win the series yet.
Come on, I want an early prediction.
All right, I'll just say South Carolina right now, but I want to see them play.
How?
I just think they've got so much JUCO talent coming in offensively, which they need. I think that's going to be enough, but. I'm just saying that. I want to see both teams play this weekend, and I guarantee when I see both of these teams play, I'll let you know who's going to win that series. But right now, we don't know anything about these teams.
I don't know if that's fair to say what you just said, because Clemson last year didn't start off the year good, and then when they played South Carolina, they won the series.
Yeah, they
did. I think Clemson will win it again this year. They lost, the Friday game, and then won the next 2?
Yeah, because, Clemson's pitching that weekend was the best it was all year long.
Yep. I think Clemson will win it. I don't know if they'll sweep or not, but I'd like to see them do it. I wouldn't be surprised if South Carolina did win the series, though, just because of, like you said, the talent they have in from the junior colleges. But as far as a national standpoint, who's your early season prediction to go back and win it all?
Oh, Lord. I have no idea. Virginia's going to be good. Florida, I want to say Florida, but once they get to the College World Series, they forget how to win baseball games. Vanderbilt's going to be there. They've got a lot of talent. But
Florida State?
Florida State's always
Florida State's going to be really good this year.
But I think from a balance standpoint between offense and defense, Florida has got more talent than anyone in college baseball. And I think they're going to be they're my preseason pick to win the SEC. I can say that.
Who's that, Florida?
Florida. And I think they can get to the College World Series. But every year under Sullivan, they get there, and then they just forget how to win.
Who do you think is the best conference right now this year? I heard somebody the other day. Go ahead. I'll let you answer.
The SEC's there. The ACC certainly is there.
I heard somebody the other day said that the ACC was the best this year in college baseball.
The Pac-12 is going to be there again, like always. I think what division's Clemson in? They're in the Atlantic, right?
Right.
That division is probably one of the best divisions.
You said
in college baseball.
Your early season prediction is Florida to win the SEC. Who wins the ACC?
ACC.
I say Louisville.
Yeah, that's probably my pick is Louisville because they were in the college. I'm pretty sure they were in the College World Series last year.
Yeah, very first.
Yeah. But I know Virginia.
Miami's going to be really good this year.
Yeah, Miami's always, there. I think they were in the College World Series last year
Yep.
too. So I know they've got some stuff coming back. So the ACC this year is going to be fun to watch.
Do you think TCU's as good this year as they were last year?
I don't know that
They were
much
good
about them.
last year.
Yeah, I know they lost some players, but they had a great pitching staff last year. They could be. They could be there. Speaking of teams in Texas, A&M might be good this year. They had a lot
A&M,
of,
no. A&M's going to be very good.
They had a lot of offensive.
Their
talent
early
last
season
year.
fourth.
Yeah, they had a lot of offensive talent last year. I know they got some of that coming back. Pitching was their problem in the postseason last year because they played in that really small ballpark. So it's offensively, that's what they're known for. Going back to the ACC real quick, North Carolina's got some talent coming in.
NC State does too.
NC State, they're another team. So
The early season top 35, if you will, South Carolina was in the top 25. Were you surprised at that?
I kind of was, to be honest. Not so much that they were in it; it's just where they were.
And why? To me, why?
Yeah,
I mean, why?
you know-
How are you putting them in it?
Yeah, what are you basing that
Right.
on? I think a lot of that has to do with that JUCO talent coming in. But when you don't make the tournament in baseball, it's kind of surprising to see them in the top 25. So, we'll see. Every year they're in the top 25 to start football. It's just like Notre Dame and Alabama.
Start football?
I mean, no, it's not baseball. Every year it's like football. Notre Dame and Alabama are in the top 25.
All right, so college baseball this weekend, opening weekends, starts Friday for some teams, starts Saturday for a lot of teams. Daytona 500 Sunday. Some people care about that, some people don't. So a lot of things going on this weekend in the world of sports.
It's going to be warm, too.
It's going to be 72 Saturday. The high today was 30, and Saturday it's 70. That makes a whole lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, if we don't tweet anything out this Saturday, it's probably going to be because we're fishing somewhere. So we're sorry about that. But, yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend. A lot of sports going on this weekend. So it's going to be fun. Oh, pitchers and catchers report this weekend, too.
They do. Is that
Yeah,
today?
This weekend, the 18th.
We appreciate you listening. Be sure to tune in Wednesday at 6 p.m. for The Bottom Line on WNGR LP 95.